Palestinians from Gaza?
Yeah, I would like to see Jordan. I'd like to see Egypt take some look. The Gaza thing has not worked. It's never worked. And I feel very differently about Gaza than a lot of people. I think they should get a good, fresh, beautiful piece of land, and we get some people to put up the money to build it and make it nice and make it habitable and enjoyable and
somewhere else.
make it a home.
They don't want to leave, though. Palestinians say they don't want to leave.
I don't know how they could want to stay. It's a demolition site. It's a pure demolition site. If we could find the right piece of land or numerous pieces of land and build them some really nice places with plenty of money in the area, that's for sure. I think that would be a lot better than going back to Gaza, which has had just decades and decades of death.
Where would those pieces of land be?
Well, they could be in Jordan, and they could be in Egypt, and they could be in other places. You could have more than two, more than one, but you could have more than two. And you'd have people living in a place that could be very beautiful and safe and nice. Gaza has been a disaster for decades.
Would the U.S. pay for that?
I don't think the UN would pay, but I think there's plenty of people that would in the area. They have a lot of money.
Donald Trump stated the following: the United States will take over the Gaza Strip. Let's make one thing loud and clear to Donald Trump, to Netanyahu, and to the Zionist entity: Gaza is not for sale. Palestine is not for sale.
What's up, y'all? Gerald here, creator of Gospel Chops and your host for this YouTube channel, back with another video. Now, y'all, once again, Donald Trump has taken over the headlines. He has dominated the news cycle for this week. Did you think it was going to end just after 2 weeks? No. This man plans on taking over the news cycle for the entirety of his presidency. Y'all, expect this kind of energy for 4 years, because this man seems like he don't run out of energy. And every time he feels like his name is not at the top of the news cycle, he gonna do something to put it there. Well, we have witnessed Benjamin Netanyahu, Bibi Netanyahu, coming to the White House. And it seems like, based on his reaction, he was a bit surprised by what Donald Trump's energy was when he arrived. They had a meeting in the White House in front of the fire that was beautiful. They answered questions of the media. And then they went to the podiums to do prepared statements. And during those statements, it seemed like Bibi was, if you look at his body language, it looked like he wasn't ready for what Donald Trump had prepared. He definitely wasn't aware ahead of time of what Donald Trump was going to say. Well, Donald Trump let loose in a prepared statement, in a written statement, and he said, you know, and I'm paraphrasing, y'all understand what we do on this channel. Dig it, get with it.
The U.S. will take over the Gaza Strip, and we will do a job with it too. We'll own it and be responsible for dismantling all of the dangerous unexploded bombs and other weapons on the site, level the site and get rid of the destroyed buildings, level it out, create an economic development that will supply unlimited numbers of jobs and housing for the people of the area. Do a real job, do something different. Just can't go back. If you go back, it's going to end up the same way it has for 100 years. I'm hopeful that this ceasefire could be the beginning of a larger and more enduring peace that will end the bloodshed and killing once and for all. With the same goal in mind, my administration has been moving quickly to restore trust in the alliance and rebuild American strength throughout the region. And we've really done that. We're a respected nation.
Donald Trump said, hey, maybe the United States can move into Gaza. Maybe we can take it over. Maybe we can send our military in there and we can handle it. We can clean it up. We can get rid of all those landmines. We can get rid of all those tunnels that the Palestinians put in place. All that infrastructure underground that they've been using for decades upon decades to attack Israel and resist Israel's aggression. Maybe we just need to plant a U.S. flag over there and make it Gaza Lago. And people were so shocked by this statement because Donald Trump thinks outside the box, y'all. It's such a different approach that no one has ever suggested before. Why? Because all of these neighboring countries, y'all, remember Israel is surrounded by enemies, y'all. All of these neighboring countries in that region, although they want to play friendly with Israel sometimes, they want to play friendly with the United States sometimes. King Abdullah, we talking about you, King of Jordan, Saudi Arabia, El-Sisi of Egypt, all of y'all surrounding Israel and you're pretending like you're not aggressors, but yet you are sending so much money, so many resources into Gaza to oppose Israel and keep Israel in a forever perpetual war against the Palestinians. Y'all, this has gone on for so many generations that these kids are trained in school to hate Jews, to hate Israel. It has become a part of their culture. And so many other folks, so many other countries around this region are benefiting from the efforts of Hamas that controls Gaza. Well, Donald Trump said, hey, we ain't going to let Hamas control Gaza anymore. If we got to move in there and ship all of those people out, that's what we going to do. We got some new solutions. What you going to do? You going to oppose me? I'm the United States. I'm the president of the United States, and I ain't got to run again. I ain't got to worry about another term. So we going scorched earth. You going to move 2 million people back into Gaza? Gaza doesn't have sewage. Gaza doesn't have electricity. Gaza doesn't have the essentials that you need to run a productive society. How are you going to move these people back in there and expect them to survive in such a desolate place? Have y'all seen the overhead drone shots of Gaza? Israel destroyed that place. And if you followed this channel for some time, you heard me say in the very beginning, I hope they turn it into a parking lot. And boy, did they ever. Well, under the Joe Biden administration, Joe Biden refused to send them certain arms. Refused to send them certain bombs and artillery. Well, Donald Trump has taken off the locks. He has released the munitions. 4,500 1,000-pound bombs approved going to Israel. And y'all know Gaza is already toe up from the flow up. Gaza is already wrecked up from the neck up. They don't need bombs anymore in Gaza to that end. Those bombs, yo, if you understand politics, if you understand international relations, those bombs are going to be pointed at Iran and those oil fields and that nuclear program that they got going over there in Iran. Donald Trump has just unleashed who let the dogs out? Donald Trump did. Well, that's what we're dealing with in this Middle East, y'all. And Donald Trump has shocked the world. Turned the news cycle on its head. People don't even know how to react. But to him, it's just like, he said it. He shrugged it off. Bibi Netanyahu was standing at the podium. If you look at his body language, he was all uncomfortable. Didn't even know how to react to it as the cameras were rolling.
There are days and nights in this business when you have to leave open the possibility that you can still be surprised. I might even say stunned. I think this is one of those days. Donald Trump making news in the biggest possible way. I'm going to read you the quotes that I think are stunning to just about everyone who heard them today after a day of calling for the people of Gaza, who he numbered at 1.8 million, to be relocated out of the Gaza Strip. Today, Donald Trump said the following about the Palestinian people. They can instead occupy all of a beautiful area with homes and safety, and they can live out their lives in peace and harmony instead of having to go back and do it again. The U.S. will take over the Gaza Strip, and we will do it, and we will do a job with it, too. We'll own it and be responsible for dismantling all of the dangerous unexploded bombs and other weapons on the site, level the site. and get rid of the destroyed buildings. When he was pressed on whether or not he would be willing to use the military to accomplish the U.S. takeover of the Gaza Strip, he doubled down on that, said, we will do what's necessary. We'll do what's necessary. If it's necessary, we'll do that. We're going to take over the peace and we're going to develop it. He referred to the Gaza Strip as the Riviera of the Middle East. He said that world people will live in Gaza, including Palestinians and anyone else, I suppose, that wants to live in this new real estate development he proposed today. This was stunning. And this came in a press conference with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, his first trip to the United States since he was labeled a war criminal by the International Criminal Court with arrest warrants issued. This is one of the few countries where Prime Minister Netanyahu can travel because the United States does not recognize the authority of the International Criminal Court, which rendered a judgment that genocide and apartheid had taken place inside of Israel, disregarding the war in Gaza. So this was their joint press conference following a bilateral meeting. A stunner by any definition of the word.
Donald Trump said, look, we'll move in there, take over this whole situation, and we'll be friendly neighbors to Israel. Hey, we'll be friendly neighbors to Lebanon. We'll be friendly neighbors to Egypt and Jordan. But I'll put some beachside resorts on this joint. And we'll have people from all over the world come and do 5-star hotels right there on the beach in Gaza. We will redefine Gaza. But first, we got to get these Palestinians out. And it turns out, y'all, this is the incredible part about the whole thing. You poll every country in that region. You poll them all. And they say, oh, no, you ain't, bro. We don't want them Palestinians in our country. Don't send them here. Jordan. Don't send them here. Lebanon. Don't send them here. Egypt. Don't send them here. Iran. Don't send them here. Saudi Arabia. Don't nobody want these people, y'all. But interestingly, they okay with letting them die for a cause. They okay with letting them blow themselves up. And I remember, y'all, when I was a young kid, even before I got into politics heavy, I used to walk around the house and I would see my father watching the news and I would look at these images on TV and I would see these young people, these kids that were my age that were throwing rocks at tanks. And even before I became politically inclined, I would wonder, I would look at that situation and say, how do they feel like they can win that battle? Back in the day, y'all, we used to go outside. We used to ride bikes around town for miles. We used to throw rocks at stuff ourselves. We used to shoot BB guns and things like that, so we knew how to be outside. So I took a certain assessment of this visual that I was seeing on my television. And I said, how can these people think that these rocks will be effectual at all against these big tanks rolling through there? Well, I came to know after getting a little education, after getting a few college degrees, and yes, I have a few, y'all. I came to understand what was going on here, that these Palestinians in Gaza are being used. Yeah, been following it for some time. Donald Trump is coming with an unconventional solution saying, hey, I can solve it my way. Say what you want about my proposal, but what you've been doing ain't worked. Ain't worked in 60 years. So what are we going to do? Cedric the Entertainer said in a comedy skit one day, what is we going to do? Let's try something different, because the definition of insane is doing the same thing over and over repeatedly, but expecting a different outcome.
I believe that the Gaza Strip, which has been a symbol of death and destruction for so many decades and so bad for the people anywhere near it, and especially those who live there, and frankly, who's been really very unlucky. It's been very unlucky. It's been an unlucky place for a long time. Being in its presence just has not been good, and it should not go through a process of rebuilding and occupation by the same people that have really stood there and fought for it and lived there and died there and lived a miserable existence there. Instead, we should go to other countries of interest with humanitarian hearts, and there are many of them that want to do this and build various domains that will ultimately be occupied by the 1.8 million Palestinians living in Gaza, ending the death and destruction and, frankly, bad luck. This is they have no alternative. It's right now a demolition site. This is just a demolition site. Virtually every building is down. They're living under fallen concrete that's very dangerous and very precarious. They instead can occupy all of a beautiful area with homes and safety, and they can live out their lives in peace and harmony instead of having to go back and do it again. The U.S. will take over the Gaza Strip, and we will do a job with it too. We'll own it and be responsible for dismantling all of the dangerous unexploded bombs and other weapons on the site, level the site and get rid of the destroyed buildings, level it out, create an economic development that will supply unlimited numbers of jobs and housing for the people of the area. Do a real job, do something different. Just can't go back. If you go back, it's going to end up the same way it has for 100 years. I'm hopeful that this ceasefire could be the beginning of a larger and more enduring peace that will end the bloodshed and killing once and for all. With the same goal in mind, my administration has been moving quickly to restore trust in the alliance and rebuild American strength throughout the region. And we've really done that. We're a respected nation again.
And Mr. President, given what you've said about Gaza, did the U.S. send troops to help secure the security vacuum?
So Saudi Arabia is going to be very helpful, and they have been very helpful. They want peace in the Middle East. It's very simple. We know their leader and their leaders very well. They're wonderful people, and they want peace in the Middle East. As far as Gaza is concerned, we'll do what is necessary. If it's necessary, we'll do that. We're going to take over that peace, and we're going to develop it, create thousands and thousands of jobs, and it'll be something that the entire Middle East can be very proud of. But everybody feels that continuing the same process that's gone on forever, over and over again, and then it starts, and then the killing starts, and all of the other problems start, and you end up in the same place. And
he thinks Gaza is beautiful and they have the best weather. Today, as you mentioned, Riviera in the Middle East. It sounds like he's been talking about it like somewhere that they should build us sandals. And now he's talking about it like somewhere that the United States should go plant a flag.
Forcibly removing Palestinians from their land is against international law.
I think we're being a little dramatic, and we're on our jump to conclusions, Matt, here a little bit. He muses occasionally.
Taking him at his word.
He muses occasionally.
Look, and just to be clear, because you're suggesting that we are making this up, or
no, I'm not suggesting anything.
It.
No, you're putting words in my mouth.
Well,
I'm saying you and I both know he muses occasionally, and he's aspirational, and he says provocative things occasionally.
I really don't want to interrupt you, but I just for my own, I think I have to come to my own defense here in saying Donald Trump, with his own words, said this is what he wants to do. He wasn't musing. He was looking down at a piece of paper. I've been in a room with him, just like that, with foreign leaders, looking down at a piece of paper. He is reading a statement that was prepared for him. Those are not musings.
Well, Scott, what happened to America First?
So I
this
think
is the guy who was supposed to take us out of the endless wars, said he's against nation building. He railed against I am.
I know. Playing the role of Catherine tonight.
I do want Scott.
Are you for the ethnic cleansing
I do
or
want
against
Scott
it?
Look, I don't
You're not
know
for it?
I don't
You're
know
not
that I
against
agree
it?
with the terminology you're
Go
using.
ahead,
Here's what I think. It's provocative. It's an interesting conversation point. Donald Trump, he's the only person in the world speaking positively about this particular geography right now. And I will just say that in the first term, he did something rather audacious with the Abraham Accords, highly successful. He's always thought positively and aspirationally about the Middle East. And I would just ask all of you all who are enraged about this, how's it going right now? How's the current management doing?
Not really all that well. To answer you, and that's because of Americans' weapons and American inability to enforce.
You're blaming us for the management problems.
And there you have it, y'all. The news cycle has gone left once again in week 3 of Donald Trump's presidency. I am confident, as I sit here before you on this channel, that I am not going to have any lack of material in the next 4 years. And I'm going to keep bringing it to you. I'm going to keep hitting you. I'm going to keep smacking you upside the head with it for the next 4 years. Don't matter how many times they call me a coon. No matter how many times they call me an Oreo. No matter how many times they call me Steven from Django. I'm going to keep speaking this truth as I see it, y'all. They going to call me MAGA. I ain't MAGA. They going to call me Republican. I ain't Republican. I'm a registered independent. Check the record. But as an independent, I see what is best, not only for America, but for the community. Y'all can say what you want to say about it, but I was raised by a big mama. I had a granddaddy in my life. My folks been here for 10 generations. Say what you want to say. Call it what you want to call it. FBA, ADOS, whatever you want to label it, it is what it is. I'm going to stand 10 toes down on business, and I'm going to keep hitting you upside the head with it on this channel because I believe that it is the best thing for the community, and it is the best thing for America. How about that? Y'all let me know what you think about this. Donald Trump say, we gonna move in there and build a Riviera out of Gaza. Hey, we'll send the military in there. We'll take the bombs out. We'll rebuild that whole joint. But you got to get these Palestinians up out of there. They need to be out the way so we can do what we need to do. Well, seems like the whole Middle East has risen up against that idea. Donald Trump at it again. Number 45 and number 47, the greatest of all time, y'all. Let me know what you think about this in the comments. I'd love to know your thoughts, and don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share the video so we can get more people involved in the conversation, y'all. And like I always say, always remember and never forget, without the gospel, it's just chops. Until next time, peace.